Hi, good evening to all. So today's topic is about structure of a banking system in India. It is an important topic of a banking theory. So first we will look at the meaning of a banking. As per Banking Regulation Act 1949, defines banking as accepting for the purpose of lending or investment of deposits of money from the public, repayable on demand or otherwise, and withdrawal by check, draft, and order or otherwise. BR Act 1949 defines the exact definition of banking as bank's main function is to accept the deposits from the public for the purpose of lending or the investment to the public. Then we need to the deposit amount repayable whenever they demand, and they have rights to withdraw money the deposited money by check, draft, and order or otherwise. Next we will look at the structure of a banking system in India. The FX institution is now banking institution is RBI. It's also called as central bank. Under RBI three main categories. First one is scheduled banks, second non-scheduled banks, the third one is the development banks. Under the scheduled banks now, so further divided by two categories. The first one is the commercial banks, the second one is the cooperative banks. Under commercial banks now, four more categories. The first one is the private sector banks, the second one is public sector banks, the third one foreign banks, the last one RRB. Under cooperative banks now, it has a three category. The first one is the primary credit societies. The second one district central cooperative banks. The third one is the state cooperative banks. Under the non-scheduled banks, it has two categories. The first one is the indigenous bankers and the money lenders. The last category is the development banks. Under this IFCI, IDBI, Exim Bank, and SIDBI, NABARD come in this category. We will look at each term in more detail. The first one is RBI. It's also known as Central Bank of India. It's the supreme monetary and banking authority in the country and controls the banking system in India. RBI is the apex institution. It controls all the commercial banks, lays down rules and regulation for all commercial banks. It has more authority to control all financial institutions. It keeps the reserves of all commercial banks. That's why it's called as the Reserve Bank of India. All commercial banks should keep certain percentage of a reserve with RBI. If it holds all commercial banks reserve, the name itself called as Reserve Bank of India. The second category is scheduled banks. These are the banks that are listed under the second schedule of the RBI Act 1934. Whatever banks come into the second schedule of RBI Act, those banks are called the scheduled banks. They should satisfy the condition of paid up capital under the reserves requirement of not less than 5 lakh. These scheduled banks capital and reserves up to 5 lakh. The third category is non-scheduled banks, are those banks whose name does not appear in the second schedule of the RBI Act 1934. Whatever banks don't appear under the second schedule of the RBI Act 1934, those banks are called non-scheduled banks. The next one is the commercial banks. These banks offer banking service to individual and business. It is more popular in India, commercial banks. Its main function is to accept the deposit from public and disburse loan to them. It receives deposits from the public in the name of a deposit and giving back to the public in the form of loan. It is the main function of a commercial bank. The next one is the public sector banks. All those banks in which the government shareholding is 51% or more is called the public sector banks. The government shareholding is 51% or more than that, those kinds of banks, public sector banks. All nationalized banks, statutory banks are public sector banks. SBI, the Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda are examples of public sector banks. All the nationalized government banks are public sector banks. Examples are the SBA, BNP and the BOP. The next one is the private sector banks, are those whose equity is held by private shareholders, which plays a major role in the development of Indian banking industry. The shareholder portion is more held by the private sectors. It's called the private sector banks. Example of these are the HDFC, ICICI, Axis Bank, etc. The next one is the foreign banks, which are incorporated abroad but having branches in India. Its license registered or incorporated out of India, but it has the branches in India. Example of these banks are Citibank, Bank of America, etc. The next one is RRB. It's also known as the Regional Rural Bank. These are the state-sponsored regional rural oriented banks. It operates in regional rural areas. They provide credit for agriculture and rural development. They provide finance for the agriculture and the rural development. The main objective of RRB is to develop a rural economy. To promote the rural economy, the RRB operates in rural area. Their borrowers include the small and the marginal farmers, agricultural laborers, artisans, etc. These are the participants in the RRB. NABARD holds the apex position in the field of agriculture and the rural finance. NABARD controls and supports for RRB. The next one is the cooperative banks. They are organized under the provision of the Cooperative Credit Societies Act of the states. It is now operated under the provision of the Cooperative Credit Societies Act. The major beneficiary is the agricultural sector in particular and the rural sector in general. The beneficiary is the agricultural people and the rural sector people. To be precise, the rural sector people. It has the three types. The first one is the primary cooperative banks, which are the P's of cooperative banks. It operates at a village level. The next one is the central cooperative banks, which operates at the district level. The third one is the state cooperative banks, which operates at the office level. Thank you. We will see you again with another session. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed. Bye.